You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. A big shout out goes to one of the most awesome human beings on the earth, a listener of the show, as well as a fellow best-selling author, and also he's a U.S. veteran as well. Thanks a bunch, Stan McCluskey, for purchasing a wonderful hoodie, mug, heck, even t-shirt and long sleeve t-shirt version of Advance Others to Advance Yourself. I appreciate you, sir, and all the stuff that you do. You've been a supporter since day one, since I published my first book, and I'm always going to be eternally grateful to you, my friend. So thank you so much for copping some merch. I appreciate it. And if you too, listening right now, want a shout out on a future episode, be sure to head over to goingnorthpodcast.com, click shop, buy some merchandise on that shop, and send me a photo of you rocking the gear, and I'll be sure to tag you on social media and give you a shout out on a future episode. Now let's get on with the show and advance others to advance yourself. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast, and we got one heck of a super special, awesome guest for you today, because my goodness, for almost 2 decades, baby, this wonderful gentleman right here that we got on the show today has been an executive coach, facilitator, and sparring partner supporting leaders and their teams in their development at various levels and in numerous industries. And he focuses on developing personal and interpersonal competence in leadership, teamwork, and customer contact. So you're going to be in for one heck of a treat that's good enough to eat. And my goodness, and what's even better and not butter is the fact that we managed to got a whole big giant cherry on top because he's part of the Forbes Coaches Council. 3rd year in a row, baby. 3rd year in a row. Some man has the hat trick going, baby. So let's give it up for the TG himself, the one and only Thomas Gelmi. How you doing today, Thomas?
I'm doing great. How do you expect me to feel after such an introduction? Hello, Dominic. Thank you for having me here on the show.
Oh, yeah, man. It's an honor to have you on, man, because my man's doing some great work across the whole darn globe. My man basically lives one heck of an interesting life because you actually had an interesting beginning, I hear.
Absolutely, yeah. Colorful biography is what I call it.
Yeah, you can say that again. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, you were a barber, then you actually toured in the circus for a few years.
Yeah. Because I had no idea what to do, I knew always that I want to work with people. I want to be close to people, exchange thoughts with people, right? I was interested in people, human beings. And so I decided to do an apprenticeship as a hairstylist. Yeah. And then I joined the circus for 1.5 years. And then I joined Swissair, the former Swiss airline. And I stayed there for 7+ years. And I used to lead cabin crew on the international flights. Yeah, that was before I then embarked on the current part of my journey, which led me to being a coach and a facilitator working with executives all around the globe. And only, maybe 10-15 years ago, I realized what the red thread was in my biography. That looks so zigzag, and if you just look at it from the outside, it looks a bit zigzag, right? And colorful, as I said. But the red thread is always, or has always been, people. So when I cut people's hair, I was also and mostly having conversations and listening. And believe me, you learn things about people and they tell you stories as a hairdresser that they don't tell anyone else. So that's where it all began.
Oh yeah, you could definitely say that again, man. Because my goodness, yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, you hear stories from the clients. It's like, oh yeah, all right, maybe I should become a coach now. All this interesting
Well,
information.
yeah. It was not such a conscious decision. It was more of a process that got me where I am now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes indeed. Oh yes indeed. Because my goodness, like through this whole process, and of course your wonderful experience with Swiss Air, you actually one of your books, I believe your most recent book, was actually based off your experience with Swiss Air.
That's correct. Yeah, the title of the book is Breakthrough. And yeah, I'm using the work of cabin crew on a passenger plane as a metaphor for the book. In the book itself, I talk about the main topics of my work today, how to develop personal skills and interpersonal skills that belong together if you want to be effective as a leader, if you want to be effective in working with others, collaboration, teamwork, but also customer interaction, for example, wherever people want to achieve something together. And up in the air, in a plane with 300 passengers on board, you need all of that, because all of that is happening in the very narrow space of an airplane. You have customer interaction, you have teamwork across sections, and you have leadership happening all at the same time. And in an environment that is, a bit awkward for most of the people on the plane. And you have to solve issues and problems right away on the spot without escalating them, without getting help from the outside, because there's just thin air outside. and and you have to solve it right there and then, right? So I learned a lot about people in this period of time, and it was an amazing time. Of course, I traveled a lot, seen a lot. Yeah, great memories. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm talking about great memories indeed, great memories indeed. And it's kind of interesting how it all just really melded together and how you're able to really, I guess, have this colorful biography, but actually makes one heck of a wonderful coaching experience for your clients, I can imagine, with all this experience you have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I still benefit from my entire biography because it's mostly practical experience, right? It's practical. My work is very experiential, based on my own experience. I'm not an academic. I did not go to university. I have no PhD. I have no degree. I am not a psychologist. I am not an MBA. Nothing. Well, nothing. none of these. None of
There you
these.
go.
And still now today I work with people who have all of that. I work as a coach for the MBA program at University of St. Gallen, which is a very renowned university and business school, without having all of that. But yeah, I have the practical hands-on experience, which is also a differentiator for me in the market. It makes me unique, yeah, in a way. I for a long time, in my younger years, I saw this as a weakness. Yeah, I saw it as a weakness not to know exactly that I want to study economics or whatever, like all other people seem to know so clearly. And today I see, no, everything fell into place and it was all good right from the beginning. I just maybe didn't see it so clearly. I sure do now in retrospect. But, there's this famous quote of Steve Jobs who said, you can only connect the dots in retrospect by looking back. You see how everything beautifully connects, but you need to live life forward into the unknown, into the fog, without knowing what's next. And you can only always see the next step that you're doing, right? So you have to trust. You got to trust in what will come, and trust in your abilities, to be able to deal with whatever may come, because that's what you've done so far. I mean, look at us, we've all made it until here. So it's very likely we're going to make it also for the rest, that's ahead of us. And people sometimes tend to forget this, right? That it's a success story. Everybody is a success story. I refer to my age as level 53. So I made it to level 53. I passed all the previous levels. So yeah, a bit like a jump and run game, right? Do they still exist? Jump and run games? That's the thing of the 80s, probably.
Well, hey, there's some jumping and running involved in some kind of games and sports indeed, because, hey, level 53, I appreciate that mindset, especially about basically your age on earth, because a lot of folks, one of my pet peeves is just folks in their 20s and 30s, heck, even their teenage years, saying they're old or getting old. I'm like, dude,
oh my goodness,
like, what are you doing? Like, dude, what did you do?
Yeah. And I mean, by the way, who said old is bad? I mean, where does the negative connotation come from, right? Look at red wines. Nobody would say old is bad. If it's good wine, it gets better the older it gets. It's the same with many human beings, And well, yeah, I don't know what I will say when I've reached my 70s, my 80s, hopefully. But for now, getting older meant improvement for me. So nothing wrong with that. Maybe I'm just lucky, it's a privilege.
Nah, I say highly skilled. So my goodness, man. So with basically that wonderful mindset you have in helping folks to have their breakthrough, the book being called Breakthrough, I'm sure there's been plateaus in your life you've had to conquer, and you've helped folks do the same. So my goodness, has there been like any common plateaus you've seen across the board with some of your clients?
Plateaus, you mean times and periods where you don't seem to develop, don't seem to grow, feels like a standstill? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, of course. Many. And time and again, because it's not a linear process. It's, the idea is nice to say, I am currently here and there is my goal. And then you draw a straight line and that's the path. that may look nice on a sheet of paper in theory. In practice, life is trial and error, right? Life is constant trial and error. As I said earlier, you just make the next step and then you have to see where you go from there. Because, one of my favorite jokes is, how do you make God laugh? You tell him about your plans. Right? The classic. So it's not a straight line. And of course, we have periods in our lives where we plateau, where we feel like nothing's moving, we're not progressing, we're stuck, or we may even feel like we're regressing. It's going backwards, it's going the wrong direction. Oh my goodness. When in fact, it's just like a loop, it's circling back a little bit to gain momentum and then catapult you into the next level of your development when the time has come. And timing is everything, right? But we don't decide what will happen. Yeah, we can trust that things and doors will open and things will happen and that everything is working out for us, not against us, for us, even if it doesn't look like at the moment. One of my preferred examples is the end of my career at Swissair. In 2001, Swissair, that was known as a premium airline and sometimes was referred to as the Flying Swiss Bank, grounded, out of money, bankrupt, all the planes grounded. So that was the end And of course, for most of us, it was a terrible event. It was a terrible situation. It felt like almost like, losing a loved one, almost like when, when a relationship breaks up out of nothing, out of nowhere. And yeah, it was bad. It was difficult to cope with, a lot of grieving, a lot of sadness, etc. It was a year later, I think, more or less, that I already saw what was good about it. And today, of course, looking back, the grounding of Swiss Air was a game changer for my biography. It was a waypoint, an important waypoint, an important milestone. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for the grounding of Swiss Air. So a jumping board, so to speak. And then there was a similar event about 8 years later, where I lost my job, only to the door into starting my own business to be opened. So we often don't see or don't know what things are really good for, but we need to trust that later we are able to look back and say, that's why. Now I understand. And so times of plateau periods are often just preparing you for the next thing. And sometimes it helps to get some support, right? So in the beginning, especially of my own business, running my own business, I had many career-related coaching topics. Private clients that approached me and said, I've reached what feels like halfway into my life, halfway there, halfway point, and I'm successful. We could say I have a house and the kids, a wife, 2 kids, a house, a dog, a car or 2, and a good job and a good salary, but something's missing. I don't know. It feels like a bit empty inside, and I don't know whether I really do the right thing, whether I really live by my purpose, by my mission. What is my mission? Why am I here? Anyway, can you help me? And so we had, interesting conversations and guided them through a process of discovery, of uncovering what kept them from showing and being who they really were, expressing their true essence and contributing to the bigger, higher good by doing so. And a plateau can help to, generate this sense of urgency, maybe also to look deeper, look closer into what am I doing? Where am I? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Right? And then maybe getting some confirmation. Well, in some coaching processes, it became clear you're exactly in the right spot. Keep going. But then that question was answered, and this uncertainty of, am I really doing the right thing, was gone, and therefore relaxed. And in some cases, it led to changes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Led to changes indeed. So, my goodness, any 2 or 3 big lessons that have really stuck out to you after helping so many folks break through those moments and getting to their next level that have helped you?
Well, courage. It takes courage to really be yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Have the courage to find out who you really are and then let it shine. Express who you really are, who you were before people started telling you who you should be. Right? And that's unfortunately very early on in our childhood that we're being told who we should be and how we should be and what's good and what's bad and what's appropriate and inappropriate, what's accepted and what is unacceptable. And unfortunately, at that time, we give away this compass, this inner guidance too fast to other people's opinions. So we give up the inner guidance for letting other people tell us where to go and what to do. And then at some point later in life, we're struggling and trying to reconnect to that. That's why I said a moment ago, it's a process of discovery, because you remove everything that's covering, that was added on to cover what's really there, what wants to shine and what wants to be expressed, because it's all there. The whole potential is there. You know, Sir John Whitmore, one of the pioneers of coaching, especially in the business, he said a big oak tree has everything it needs to become a big, huge, strong oak tree in the seed. It's all there. It's all there. There's nothing that needs to be added. You just plant the seed and then you give it ideal conditions. You just ensure the conditions are favorable and the rest happens. Life will take care of it. And with human beings, it's really not much different. You know, I often compare human beings to plants, you know, to flowers, and leaders to gardeners. Because what's your role as a leader? If you have a team, if you have an organization, if you have a department to lead, you're a gardener and you have a certain biodiversity in your garden, meaning different plants. You have some roses, some tulips, some oak trees, some whatever, you name it. And all of them just need ideal conditions to thrive, to flourish. Same with human beings. They don't grow faster if you pull them. They don't grow and flourish better when you kick them every now and then. No. Remove the weeds, yes, meaning solve problems, take care of the problems, yes. But more than that, take care of the people. Care. Lead and care is replacing command and control, or has to replace it. So yeah, authenticity is key, you know. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, French author and pilot, said, beautiful quote, he said, "Perfection is achieved not when nothing more can be added, but when nothing more can be taken away, removed. What's left is the essence." And that's perfection. That's often used in design, for example, interior design, for example, where you see that less is more often.
Oh, yeah.
You know, get rid of all the stuff that's laying around, you know, and then see how beautiful that desk looks with just the one flower on it, right, for example. So yeah, authenticity is key. To answer your question, I don't even remember what the question was.
Hey, but you dropped some great stuff right there, especially the fact that courage and authenticity, those are two wonderful things you've gained from helping folks with their breakthroughs. Because, hey, like, authenticity is a buzzword nowadays because folks don't like the whole being fake thing. They don't want to be leather jacket, even though folks are not a fan of leather depending on what part of the world you're in, but they still want the real article.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you mentioned that compass too, and even one of my favorite things you mentioned is the fact that leaders are gardeners. Like, it makes perfect sense. I can't believe I haven't, like, after reading As a Man Thinketh quite a few times, I can't believe I didn't, like, put the two and two together because it's so true. Like, you're not going to have a garden of just one plant. Like, you're going to have multiple plants and multiple crops.
Yeah. And each of them needs maybe something different. Yeah. Yeah. So extra care, specific care. And there's a third element that comes with authenticity. Yeah. Or a second one. Authenticity includes being genuine. Yeah. Showing up for who you really are, showing yourself how you are. It always comes, because of that, with vulnerability. Yeah? Because if you show yourself for who you are, means you remove the armor, the protective armor. You open the visor of your helmet so people can see you for who you are, or you remove the helmet completely, right? No protection. This is who I am. And this makes us vulnerable, right? Which may sound like a weakness, when in fact, it is the thing that creates connection and closeness and trust and relationship, which are the key ingredients for the magic to happen in leadership, in collaboration. You know, where people go extra miles because they want to, they take care of things because they see that it needs to be done and they want to do it, and nobody has to tell them what to do because they see it and they want to do it. That's, you know, that's what we need in organizations today. Maybe when in the past organizations needed people who did what they were told to do, today and in the future we need people who do what they're not told to do. Because yeah, as a manager, you can't see everything. The complexity has increased so dramatically over the past years, and the uncertainty, you can't control everything. So you have to empower people, and you need people who think by themselves, take responsibility, accountability, and self-starters, you know, who self-organize and take care of the customers. And the prerequisite for that is authenticity, including genuineness, vulnerability, and all of that takes courage.
Indeed, yes, indeed. That mighty courage, indeed. So, my goodness, so since you've been on multiple podcasts and you've been on this little mini podcast tour promoting the great work you're doing to helping out wonderful, wonderful humans, is there a question that you wish you would be asked more often?
A question I wish I would be asked more often is the question, how can I become more conscious, more aware of who I am and what I do every day? Which translates into, how can I reduce my blind spots? You know, we all have them. If you imagine driving in a car, you know, in the outer rear mirror, there's this blind spot, there's this a dead angle, right? What we have the blind spot indicator for, the little lamp that flashes up when car drives by. We have the same in our behaviors, in our actions, in what we do all day long in the organizations, as leaders, as team members. We do things that we're not aware of, that others see and perceive, but we're not aware of them. And often, especially for managers, these are things that turn people off, that demotivate people, you know? But as a manager, how can you change it if nobody tells you? As long as nobody tells you, hey, you know what? There's this one thing you're doing on a regular basis that kills our motivation. Would you mind stopping that? so that we can so that we can motivate ourselves, because we can motivate ourselves, right? And the phenomenon, of course, is the higher you go in an organization, the higher you move up the career ladder, the less candid feedback you get.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller the number of people who have this honest conversations with you. Yeah. So thin air, the higher up you go, not just with the plane, but also on the career ladder. So the question I'm being asked quite often is, what can I do to motivate my people even more? And I can see where the question comes from. It's a legitimate question, but it's often the wrong question. The right question would be, what do I need to stop doing in order not to demotivate my people? That's often the much more effective question. So I would wish for this question to come up more often. And what we do then, if somebody is interested in the answers to this question, we sometimes use tools like 360-degree feedback, for example. It's when the main stakeholders, the main people who work with this manager, for example, with this leader, give anonymous feedback to me, to one of my colleagues, or through a systematic online questionnaire, where they basically answer questions in two directions. First, what do I particularly appreciate in this manager, in this person? Where do I see his or her strengths and qualities and talents? What do I like? And the second set of questions, of course, where would I hope for this person to change? Where do I see the potential for development? What would I need them to do differently so I could do a better job? I could perform better, or whatever it may be. And then this is put in a report anonymously. And this is then what I look at together with that person. And we derive one or two developmental areas, and we start a beautiful coaching process with the aim to reduce the blind spots and move into the next level of their development, making their work as leaders easier, less friction, less conflict, more engagement in their team. And just beautiful, beautiful things happen in organizations when managers have the courage and the openness to face these things.
Oh yeah, courage indeed, because you're so right about the thin air as you go up and advance in your career. Because it's like, oh yeah, you're doing great, boss. We love you, boss. It's like behind closed doors, like, man, are they gonna retire yet? Like, come on, they keep on pushing us down.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, man, definitely, definitely powerful question indeed. And heck, that's even something that a lot of folks should consider more often. To say, how can I reduce my blind spots? You're so right. We all
Yeah.
have them. We all have
And
them.
you can ask these questions in your relationship. You can ask your partner, what can I do to be a better husband? What can I do to be a better wife? What can I do to be a better parent? Just takes a bit of courage, but there can be beautiful conversations emerging from that.
Oh yeah. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. So speaking of questions, got this fun question I've been dropping on folks, and that is, if your wonderful book breakthrough was a food item, what would it be and why?
Food.
Yeah. Since books are food for the mind, it's like, hey, let's get more descriptive here.
Yeah. It's this Italian dessert. It's called tiramisu.
Ooh.
Have you heard of that? Huh?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I'm half Italian, and the tiramisu is a dessert. So it's sweet, it's delightful, it's just nice, to eat, and it has coffee in it. So there's espresso in there, which stimulates, right? And so my book, if it was a food, it was a tiramisu, because it's delightful to read and it's stimulating at the same time.
Well, there you have it, folks. Pick up that tiramisu, baby. It's good stuff.
You know what tiramisu means? It literally, translated literally, means pull me up.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Break it through. Pull me up indeed. That's right. My man Thomas has got the tools up. You pull you out of your situation, y'all. That's right. All the wonderful tools in this toolbox indeed. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again. Oh, wow. I think that's almost in reverse for you. And you were in 2022 with all of your knowledge and experience. What advice would you give to yourself?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's one word. Relax. Relax. Let go, let go. Don't fight. Let go. Be the best version of yourself every day. Don't compare yourself with anyone else, because everybody is different. Everybody has different story, different background, different experience, education, whatever. Don't compare. It's a recipe for unhappiness. Compare yourself only and exclusively to the best version of yourself that you can imagine, or to who you were yesterday. Just be yourself and relax. Life happens for you, not against you, and you can trust the flow. That would be my advice. It's going to be all right.
I like it. It's good stuff indeed. It's good stuff indeed. That's right. Yeah, because it can be a lot of pressure, especially folks in their 20s. Like, oh yeah, let me get a top 30 under 30. Oh, top 40 under 40. If I'm in the entrepreneur space, I gotta find a special someone before the wall hits me. Like, nah, just relax.
Yeah. Relax and be happy. Enjoy. Life is here to be enjoyed, with all the ups and downs, of course, with all the crises we're going through. Yes, but generally, don't think I will be happy when I have my degree. I will be happy when I have that job, when I have that car. I will be happy when I find the right partner. I will be happy when I have a big house. I will be happy when I have kids. I will be happy when the kids are grown up and out of the house. I will be happy when I finally retire. I will be happy. Boom. End of story. And you weren't happy. So, being happy is a thing of the here and now, of the moment, and can be a decision. Regardless of the circumstances, you can decide to be in a state of joy and peace. Not the kind of happiness, the jumping around happiness, the over the flow, over the top happiness. It's not what I'm talking about. It's this calm state of inner peace and joy, no matter what. And that doesn't mean there will be less problems. It doesn't mean there will be less difficulties, less challenges. But what it does mean is that you will see them differently, and you will face them differently and go about them differently. So make it a habit to make this decision on a daily basis.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Don't wait to be happy, y'all. That's right, because that's probably one of the most biggest lies that'll hold you back. It's like, yeah, when the kids are gone, I'm gonna be so happy. It's like, oh crap, they're gone. I'm so just depressed. Like, now why'd they leave? They should have stayed like 2 years old for like ever. But for those who definitely don't want to do that, but for those who want to keep in contact with the terrific Thomas, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Well, the usual stuff, connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. Visit my website. It's going to be It's going to be redesigned in the next 1 or 2 months. So it's currently in the making. Look out for my e-learning programs that will pop up in the course of this year, where there will be a lot available for you on demand, self-learning, with optional coaching if you like. So yeah, look out for that. Sign up for my newsletter and you'll be informed when the time has come.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Be on the lookout for those e-learning courses, y'all. That's right. Thomas is going to get this sexy new website, y'all. And he's already got a great one indeed, so you know this one's going to be hotter than fish grease, y'all. That's right, so be on the lookout for it indeed, because the man's got some great tools for you in your toolbox. You'll probably feel like Bob the Builder after it's all said and done. Like...
You have that one there too, huh? We have that one in Switzerland too. Yeah, my kids used to watch that. Bob the Builder. Oh my goodness.
You're probably going, that's a new visual now for my coaches.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right. It's like, can we fix it? Yes, we can.
Yeah, that's going to be a great title for my next book. Bob the Builder for executives.
Oh, there we go. Hey, might be on something. Because those kids have been growing up and they might be executives now. So you're definitely on to something. So.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, man. So any parting words before we close up shop?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you. Yeah, it's been great fun talking to you. Nice conversation. I've enjoyed it very much. And yeah, all the best to you. Let's stay in touch.
You just got done listening to another powerful, power-packed episode of the Going North podcast. I hope you really enjoyed what you heard. Go check out the guest stuff. It's all in the show notes on the website, donbrightman.com, and also reach out to those that you've just heard as well. And keep going north.